So some of the tech tools today I want to talk about my favorite 3 apps or software that have drastically changed my business over the last few years, and things that I believe are critical or essential to your business, that you be self-employed, that you be a small, medium business, big business, a real estate broker, a mortgage, but it doesn't really matter. If you are self-employed or in business, you need certain tools. And I believe these 3 tools that we're going to share with you today are essentials. They're not optional. In today's competitive world, you have to go. So I want to start with one that most people, Mike, would probably, well, first, maybe let me introduce myself. I'm Etienne Mellor. I'm an owner of 3 real estate agencies here in the greater Montreal area. Mike is our business development, Mike François. We've known each other for quite some time. I've been in the business for 25 years almost. I've done and acted in every capacity possible. I started as a real estate broker, and then now I'm an owner. I also have my license with l'AMF, l'Autorité des marchés financiers, so for mortgages or to have a mortgage cabinet. That's a possibility for me, and it's in the works. As well as I've been involved with the industry, with the association, l'APCEQ. I've been on the board of directors. I've been on different committees. I'm involved also with Royal LePage Canada on the advisory board, where we meet with other owners across Canada to discuss the challenges that we face in the industry. One topic for sure will be in the upcoming meeting will be the war, the trade war, which it's affecting the real estate market. This morning we had a live with my friend here, Mike. We showcased the open houses of the upcoming weekend, and we were talking about the effect on the real estate market. You wanna know more about the real estate market, how it's being affected? Go back and watch that. It's on our platforms. But the idea today was to go over the tools, the apps, the technology that we use, and we believe is no longer optional for you as a real estate broker or a business owner to integrate. Mike, you want to say a few words about that? How you've seen, because you've been with me for quite some time now, you've seen the evolution of our usage of these platforms, these tools that we're going to discuss more in depth, and how it affected or impacted our growth, our success, our results.
I think it's huge. I didn't know, about the software that you're using. I don't know if you want me to mention the name, but
no, we'll get into it shortly. You're more of a traditional guy at the core, at the base of it.
But I would say, like in terms of organization and to be organized and to be able to do your follow-ups, the bigger that you get, you understand that there's 24 hours in one day. It might be easy for you to juggle 10 customers or 10 clients, but when you get to 100, 200, 300, 1,000, 2,000, then it becomes a little bit more tedious for you to be able to keep up with everything. So being able to work with certain tools and certain softwares, for one, is that you eliminate the human from that, right? Because imagine you have to hire a whole bunch of people to do manual stuff for you. It would be extremely expensive. So by using those tools, they're accurate, they work, you're able to keep up with everything.
So you're doing a great job of pitching, which is great, Mike. But how have you seen it impact on our daily activity? Now, as a broker, you do a lot of the following up. You try to get new business. You think more transactional. That's the traditional way of going about running your business, the traditional transactional way, next client, transaction.
Yeah.
Things have evolved and changed over the years, especially with the arrival of social media, content creation. It's shifted to a relationship-based, educational-based businesses. When you're in the service business, any type of business, actually personal branding. Yeah. So from the time that this technology came about, we switched. I was a transactional broker because we didn't have the technology. I didn't understand what we're doing today. But over the years, it evolved. It changed to now it's relationship based. Yeah. Let me explain what I mean by that. So these platforms come and help us to be seen, to be known, to be transparent who we are. So we show our personality, how we think, how we operate, how we do things, and then the potential client sees that without committing to anything. So example, social media. Right now, we're talking to you. We're talking to the camera. We're creating content for later. We're going to repost this. People that don't know who we are might see or will see, and then say, I either like or I don't like. Who are these people? What are they talking about? Oh, if I have a need to buy, sell, invest, I might reach out because I see or I have some affinities or not. So the tools here came that you to facilitate what you're saying, Mike, in your own way, to show who we are on a larger scale and to entertain and nurture relationships on a larger scale, because you cannot do all of this manual stuff unless you stay in transactional mode. If you're in transactional mode, which a lot of brokers still are, I find, in my opinion, then you're limiting your potential, the potential return, and you're exhausted. You're exchanging time for money. It's all about, I do this, I get that. I do this, I get that. So you're really in a job position. What do you have to say about that?
I think really.
You think, or you know?
No. I feel. I would say that
feelings.
Real estate as a whole, I think changed because of the fact that everybody sees that everybody's doing the same thing. So if you're looking at 16,000 and some odd brokers in Quebec, they all do the same thing. I don't think that somebody can say, well, I could fill out a brokerage contract better than you. We all did the same courses. We all have the same license. However, what you'll notice is that the brokers that are really successful, the main difference they have with everyone else is A, work ethic, and number two, they have a network. But that network also has to feel relatable to you. So if I'm a real estate broker, he is, and there's 10 people in the room, then we can all do the same job, but who is the customer going to relate to? That's why I'm saying giving the person value is what's going to make them, resonate towards you.
So I like what you're saying about the network, your database, if you want to call it something else, the people you've serviced in the past, or your friends, your family. In a transactional way, you can still have a good living.
Yeah.
Yes, but if you were looking at the incorporation of these platforms we're going to discuss in a second and share with you, you would then nurture better, which means that you would probably, and I've done this and I've experienced it, you would probably gain 10 times more in business easily just by introducing this and switching from transactional to relationship based. But you need these tools. You can't do that in a manual way, what we're going to discuss. So my first number one tool, but before I give it, actually, I want to encourage you to exchange with us and engage, interact, ask your question. It could be any question. It doesn't have to be what we're talking about today. It could just be, Etienne, how come you're always dressed so sharply and nice? It could be just that. Where do you shop? How do you keep fit and trim? How do you speak so eloquently? And so, whatever you want, we're here. We want to engage with you. We want to interact. If you want to not engage and interact and you want to hide behind the screen, no problem. But you can also come and say, I like it, I don't like it, but share, engage, let's talk, let's communicate. One of the things that you have to do as a self-employed, as a business, is do more of that engagement, reaching out. Seeds, I call them, planting, soft touches, just, hey, how's it going? Hey, I'm here. Yeah. How many times do I go on social media as an example and I see someone's live? I'll just jump in. I want to participate. I want to engage. Even though I'm not an expert in the conversation, I can still ask some questions. I can still participate in my own way. And so let's start with the first tool. My favorite platform, and it's I'm not sponsored or I'm not pushing that platform. There's many different ones, but it's going to have to be HubSpot. Now, HubSpot is what everybody knows what a CRM is, but this is a CRM with way more capability and scalability than your typical prospect. For those that are real estate brokers that know the platform prospect, it's for all different kinds of businesses. It's got the capacity, the capability of also connecting all kinds of other stuff with APIs or with just other apps and platforms that you can integrate easily. So I want to start with that. Now, how does that platform come and change my business or my life? Mike, from your experience, how do you use that platform? And can you give some examples maybe of how it facilitates your day-to-day, either as a real estate broker, a salesperson, a business owner, a director, a manager?
Honestly, I wouldn't know where to start. This platform is so big and complex that you have to take a course, to really dive into every little.
Well, Mike, I'm going to interrupt you right there. What you want to do. Well, but wait a second. Yeah. I didn't do no course.
No. You learned it on your own, right?
But let's pause for a second and talk about that, because oftentimes the learning, the courses, that's. If you said that to me before I jumped into HubSpot, I wouldn't have done it. I don't want to do no courses. We got the UFCs. We got all of these different courses and things. No, this tool can be learned just by clicking and integrating it into your day-to-day activity. We were not doing what we're doing today with this platform 10 years ago. We were using the basic just contact management application before we integrated the workflows, the automation, and all that. So yes, Mike, you're right. It's a huge platform.
Yeah.
But you don't have to dive in and do courses and that, because right now I know I've lost a bunch of people because of the course part. You don't have to. I didn't do a course. I just learned by clicking buttons. So sorry to have interrupted
what
you.
I'm trying to say is that, you know, you can, it's like, I'll give you an example. You buy a supercar, they're going to give you an actual training to know how to move the car, right? So you know the car is very powerful, but if you're not used to driving something like that, you just might lose yourself in the whole thing. So what I'm trying to say is that it's a platform that's amazing. There's many of them out there, but this one is extremely powerful. Like I can't see a limit to what it can or cannot do. And that includes, you know, lead generation. That includes even being able to connect dialers to it, etc.
Let's talk about more in depth, because everybody knows, or you should know this, a CRM. What is the CRM? It's a contact management software. Now, that's nothing new with that, and that's kind of boring. And I wouldn't be spending time here talking to you if it was just about CRM.
Yeah,
it's not that. It's what it also can do additionally, which is I picked out two of the favorite. There's 1,000 things, but the sequences and the workflows. What is a workflow? Is a programmable sequence of event that it be texting, tasks, change in the field of the client. Example, Mike is coming to my open house. I've created a workflow that when I enter Mike in the platform for the first time, he will then fall into a workflow that's going to instantaneously create a task for me to go check if we can connect on the platform, a social media platform, as an example. Second, he's going to get a text message from me saying, hey, thanks for coming by at the open house. It was very nice to get to know you, and or whatever it is. He's going to then get an email that I can program anytime I want. If he interacts with the text, if he looks at the text, I can put a video of who I am or the house that they just saw for refreshing their memory once they leave. I can program or do workflows where the client gets a voicemail drop from me. They don't know, but their phones are not ringing. And then they get a voicemail saying, hey, again, really appreciated you taking the time to come and visit my open house.
Yeah.
Here's some more properties, or here's a link to my calendar if you'd like to visit for us. So there's a lot of the following up that you should be doing that you don't even do. Let's call it what it is, right?
Yeah.
That you can automate. So what if you had the perfect employee, Mike, and you said, or you told it what to do and what to say with the follow-ups, but you, instead of relying on a human being to do that, you put it in and you program it into a CRM like HubSpot, and you create these workflows. These workflows can be very intricate or very simple. And in the beginning, it's going to be a simple workflow. My first ones, Mike, were 6 steps. Now they're 6 years. So time, you can have if branches. I hope I didn't lose you there. Next time we're going to have some visual. And I want you to tell me if I lose you, if you have questions, if you want clarification, if you want more thorough examples, I invite you to write or DM or text. But to go back to my example, I could say that, you know, after a week from the last communication, if there's no interaction, because there's artificial intelligence in these platforms that will qualify the lead based on the interaction and will tell me, all right, Mike has opened and looked at the video a few times, or clicked on something in the email or the text, or he's listened to the voicemail message a couple of times. There might be some interest because of the high level of engagement. And then that will trigger some other activity that either I call or I follow up or I have my assistant do, or it's another automated thing. Hey, thanks for inquiring again about this or that property. Here's 3 more. Here's the next steps if you're looking to buy. And it's infinite, the amount of possibility you can have. Again, all about the following up. How many times do we talk about follow-up? Where follow-up is what? The most important part.
The most important part.
Of what?
Of being able to get to your realization of what you're trying to do.
Of the sales cycle. So the follow-up is the step before the deal, before the transaction, before the commitment. It's not the first meeting. It's not the one follow-up. It's a lot of following up through different means, different vehicles, different ways. And so with a platform like HubSpot or Salesforce or all of the big CRMs with AI and workflows and automation, you can build all of these different scenarios, which they call workflows, in order to facilitate the nurturing or the following up of your sales cycle. So it could be for a buyer, you have a workflow. For a seller, you have a different one, obviously. For an investor, it's a different one. For a tenant, it's a different one. For an existing client that already bought, the nurturing part.
Yeah.
How many times do we do, or you do as a broker, you sell a property, and then when I talk to brokers and I say, well, what's your nurturing? Well, when it's 1 year or when it's Christmas or when it's their birthday, I send them a card or an email. Well, that's not going to be the same as if you're nurturing and touching base regularly, maybe once a month, maybe even 2-3 times a month. It just depends on how you do it in a non-salesy way. If you're just wishing them, I hope you have, today's Friday, it's almost 3 o'clock. If let's say you had in your program, your automation, a message or a voicemail drop or a text message or whatever you want, it could be all of the above, saying, hey, Mike, past client of mine, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. It's not a question. It's not a sales pitch. It's not nothing. It's just a nice thought. And in marketing, we call it a soft touch, like this. This is a soft touch. So Mike doesn't forget me. He feels all warm inside when he gets my voicemail because he's like, oh shit, Etienne really cares about us, even though it's been 5 years since our last sale or transaction or whatever it is. He doesn't forget me, and then I get or increase the odds that he refers me to some family members, some coworkers, some neighbors, whatever it is. So the power of workflows, the power of automation is what we're talking about right now. How do you use, Mike, maybe in your day-to-day, the power of automation, if anything? And there's no this is too basic. You have to start somewhere. Could be one step.
Well, you remain top of mind, and I think that a lot of times, you'll have a meeting with someone, and as soon as the meeting's over, then you have completed the meeting. You write whatever notes it is that was pertaining to that meeting, and then that person will automatically receive by the end of the day or even a couple of minutes later, depending on the workflow, an email telling them, well, we're glad that you came to meet us and whatever it is or whatever questions
and
they have.
Personalized.
Yeah, and it's done that way. So then, at that point, you're able to keep in touch with the person. You can calculate when will be the next time that you'll contact them, depending whether or not they interacted with the email that you received.
Or you can program it.
Yeah.
Based on the interaction.
Exactly. So I think that what it does is that it puts you in a position to be able to do a lot more in a lot less time. So instead of you having to go one by one and either doing a call, missing the call, doing the email, so this can be done all automatically, and then you continue with your follow-up from there.
So that covers more or less when you have a client or you've met someone or the meeting, the call, the interaction has been done. But what about, this is probably the topic that would excite most of you, what about lead gen using this technology? So I'll give you another example of how you could use this kind of workflow or sequences and the power of the automation when we talk about lead generation. So, okay, here's the most basic way of using it would be, I put an ad on Meta, using Meta. So either Facebook, Instagram, both. You could do it with Google, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever platform you want. But let's stick with the one that most of you use, Facebook, Instagram. So you know why I say that? Because I just read something not that long ago. It's still to this day in Montreal, in Quebec, more specifically, brokers, Matteo, if you didn't know this is important. Matteo's our social media manager. Wave at everybody. We can't see you, but there you go. There's the hand. Matteo, 90% of realtors in Quebec still prefer and favor Facebook as their main platform. 48% Instagram. You see how it's screwed up? Everybody thinks Instagram is more than it's not. It's still 90% Facebook, 48 Instagram, and small percent TikTok, but growing. So going back to, what was I saying? Are you paying attention, Mike? Let's see. Uh-oh.
You're talking about the ads.
This is why you want automation, and because employees, humans, they get distracted. They get sidetracked.
You're talking about ads, bro. What are you talking about?
Now, let's clarify something. Mike and I have known each other since high school. So we can talk to each other in a very frank way. Right?
Of
Of course. Okay, going back to the ad. I put an ad on Meta. My ad is a lead generating ad. And if you want to know more about doing these ads, I have a video on YouTube. I forget what it's called, but you'll see it. Go to my channel, Etienne Mellor on YouTube, and I show you how to create a leads campaign on the Meta. But so leads campaign, you put 3-4 nice, beautiful properties that show, let's say, the Montreal area, typical home in Montreal, and you say, would you like Mr. and Mrs. anybody to have lists of homes directly in your inbox? And then they fill out the form. Now, my Meta platform is connected to my HubSpot account, and now the sequence of nurturing the workflow will start. So they will get automatically, once filled out the form, instantaneously, not when I feel like it the next day, or no, someone fills out something online. Think of yourself. You fill out a form online. You want the info now, not 3 days later. So they get a text message. Hey, thanks, Mike, for filling out the form. Really appreciate that. I promised you lists of homes, and here you're going to get it by email in a minute. But first, let me introduce who I am. And then it's a video of me saying, you know, I'm a broker. I've been doing this for X amount of time. I won't bother you. I'm not going to pressure you. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just here to educate and to give you what you want. And you ask for lists of homes. Here's lists of homes. This is all automated. Then an email goes, and that's the lists of homes. And in that email, there's some links, some documents to open, so I can see, so the platform can see when there's engagement, and how long are they looking at the document, which is the properties I'm sending. That's been automatically populated and sent automatically. You see what I'm saying? You can have also a Zoom link. You can have a meeting link for your office, all automated, saying, hey, if you'd like to meet or you'd like to discuss further, here's my Zoom link. We could do a quick Zoom, or if not, no problem. Just respond to the email or text me or whatever. So that's how you can use that for lead generation and nurturing and converting. Because, okay, here, you've tried it. I've spoken to you, some brokers. Oh, I've put an ad on Meta. What happens?
They're not getting.
What happens when you put the ad in?
Takes time.
Mateo's saying it takes time. So someone fills out the form. This is how you do it right now without the automation. They fill out the form. You get a notification from Facebook. You might have even an email, but you got to go get the lead from Meta. So then you go in, you see a name and an email and a phone number. Then what do? You try to call them and email them, right? You've all done this. You've tried it. Those that have tried it. You call, they don't answer. How many times, Mike, do we have to call for when we talk about like someone filling out a form? How many times, generally speaking, or how many communications? And you have all that in the HubSpot. How many communications before we actually get to speak to someone?
Several.
And how long? It sometimes takes months.
Yeah.
So if you're doing it manually, there's no way you're going to get to everybody and hit and speak to them, because it just takes too long. So you're going to get people filling out the form. It costs on average, if your ad doesn't suck, about $5 to $6 per raw, what we call raw lead, someone filling out the form. So once you've got that raw lead, $5 to $6, that's pretty expensive if you ask me. $5 to $6 per lead that you can't even reach and that you manually try to follow up with. That's just nonsense. So doing online leads without automation, without the technology that we're talking about today, is absolutely pointless and useless, and it doesn't work. And then the other thing I have to say about that, about workflows and HubSpot, is that the first step before you hire someone, get these tools for you, because this is better than an employee. This is better than a human. It won't fall asleep. It won't get sidetracked and thinking about their weekend or other plans or whatever, right? It won't not come in because it's spring break. It won't do, it's the weekend. There's none of that. It's 24/7. You tell it what you want. You program it the way you want, and it's your personal assistant. That's where we're at in 2025 when we talk about these kinds of platforms. We're talking about HubSpot. We're talking about you can use Salesforce. There's quite a few, but with automation and with the possibility to use AI and integrate it. Now, AI we're going to get to in a minute, but I want you to understand that when we talk about HubSpot and CRMs and all that, it's not prospect. Prospect is an old-fashioned thing with no automation, no capability of what we're talking about now, and no way that it can help you as an assistant. You got to go deeper. We here at Royal LePage have a platform called La Sphère RLP Sphere, which it's like a mini version, if you want, a simplified version of HubSpot. Mike, you want to talk about that?
It's powered by KV Core. Personally,
KV Core's now been bought by this other company, but formerly KV Core.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's a really good platform that a lot of brokers, even then, they don't even use that. So, I think that brokers need to get, with these tools, they need to adapt to it more. I think they haven't done it, and that's why a lot of brokers are left behind. Now, with the integration of AI, rapidly coming in, it's already been, in the States, they're already using it quite frequently, and here it's coming in slowly. Like, you can see a few people starting to dabble with it a little bit. That if you don't start getting familiar with these things, if you don't start working with them more, then chances are you're going to get left behind at some point because you won't be able to keep up.
So if you have questions, ask the question. There's no stupid question, and if you want ideas on how to implement that for your business, please reach out. I'm going to gladly help you. It'll be my pleasure, because I've been using this platform for more than maybe 10 years now. And every month, almost every couple of months, they add new features, they tweak things, they listen, they grow the platform, they add modules.
There's a question actually from Jessica from Quebec City asking, how about Follow Up Boss? How would that be any different?
Well, Follow Up Boss is a platform that's much simpler, but still a platform but it's real estate related, built a bit like RLP Sphere. They take the main components of these HubSpots or Salesforce that are bigger platform and try to make it so that it's simpler or easier to use, maybe for a real estate broker. So it's a dumbed down, simpler platform. It does not have all of the capabilities I've discussed, though, that, let's say, HubSpot will. And I think what's important, Mike, and I'm happy you bring that up, you don't want to limit yourself and invest in a platform that doesn't have the capability of growth. Because for you today, listening to me, you might be a tad confused about what I'm saying, or maybe not understand at all what's going on, right?
Yeah.
That's a possibility. So maybe for you, you're thinking, I'm going to go for a simplified version today. Yeah, but once you've mastered the simplified version and you spend so much time investing in it, you want to probably leave that platform and then go to a HubSpot. So I think it's best to go with a bigger platform from the get-go.
Yeah.
And grow with it, and so that you're never limited by the platform and then have to switch platform. That's the worst thing in the world, is to move everything from one platform that you've mastered to another one. So
Kevin from LaSalle is asking, how much money should I put aside for something like that per month? What would it cost?
Well, that's a great question. Is Kevin?
Kevin from LaSalle, yeah.
Look, you want to not think too much about what is going to be the cost. Now, that makes no sense to you, as what I just said is like, well, what do you mean? You have to look at it. What can it replace, and how much can it generate once I understand, and once it's fully operational for me? Think of it this way. If you were to, in my example of using it for lead gen, if you were to just think about, okay, well, look, if what I'm doing now, I've tried the Facebook leads manually, and I was able to maybe convert 1 out of 100, and it took me a lot of time. But if I could automate all that, then maybe I could get 5 or 10 or more. How much money does that mean? And then the potential versus the cost is gonna blow your mind. I mean, these platforms are not that expensive compared to what they give you as a capability and possibility for the return. Obviously, what I'm spending on my platform today is different than the first day I started. First day I started, I went with the free platform. There's a free version to kind of get you just to feel what it can do. And then you add modules. So you can grow and build and add modules and apps. And then accordingly, your budget will also go up. But just to give you an example, I maybe spend $5,000 a month. But I'm using it again with not just the stuff I'm discussing. I'm running my whole business with that, and that's almost 200 plus people. It's got the servicing, it's got the sales, it's got the marketing module, it's got everything, and the lead gen. So, 5,000 might seem a lot to you, but for a big business like me, it's nothing. And how many employees does that replace? Like, it's not about replacing people, Mike. We need the people. But I would need an extra probably 5 people to do, or maybe even more, what this platform is giving me. So let's say just round numbers, 50,000 times 5, that's 300,000. I'm spending maybe 60,000 a year. Maybe even if it was 100,000, I'm still saving 2/3 of what I would.
Yeah.
So you got to think of it that way.
Sonia from Laval is asking, as a new broker that's just starting out, like, would I need to get involved with this right away, or is it something that I could put eventually?
No, you want to start now with that. You want the new way of doing business, the modern way of doing business from day one, not do the traditional stuff and then eventually switch. We're in 2025. There's no more of, there's actually shouldn't even be a conversation about do I need it, do I not need it. In my opinion, you either do that or don't get into real. Don't be a self-employed individual if you're not going to use these technologies. It's too competitive. If you're competing against me with all of this technology, how the hell can you expect to beat me? You're not. So you got to get with what's happening and what the big businesses out there are using, or else you don't have a chance.
True.
So the next favorite thing, next favorite tool, Mike, I think this is a no-brainer at all, is artificial intelligence. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, you've got XAI, you've got deep search, you've got deep search from OpenAI, you've got chat GPT, you've got Gemini with Google. They're all good. I mean, you see stuff on the social. You were bringing it up just recently. You were talking about DeepSeek. Mm-hmm. Saying it was better than ChatGPT. I mean, I don't really care which platform you use. They're all pretty much the same. For what we are going to do with it, we're not programming agents and doing all kinds of other stuff. You should have one of those platforms and a paid version, not the free stuff. You can, if you're not sure, which I think is a no-brainer, jump with the free one, but you're going to have some difficulty using it. I don't think you're going to be sold on it if you don't use the paid version. How much is the paid thing anyways? It's not that much, is it?
It's like $40 a month. But it's like I say, if you use the free version, it'll give you an idea, but you're limited. So for example, you'll be limited in the number of searches you can make. It won't give you exactly, accurate information. So it's best that way, no?
So everybody knows ChatGPT. Let's talk about Chat OpenAI. Chat version 4 or 4.5, as Mike is saying he uses today. How to use it, I think everybody knows that you guys can talk to it and then it creates your description. I hear quite a bit of brokers using it for listing descriptions, but it's way more powerful than that. And if you use it also for posting or creating copy for your posts, great idea, but you can use it for visuals. You can use it for nurturing, for questioning a client questions you with something you're not 100% sure. Ask ChatGPT. Get into the habit of having chat, or whichever platform you prefer or use, as your personal assistant. I do not do anything without my OpenAI ChatGPT. I will brainstorm with it. Any challenge that comes up to my mind, anything. Let's use an example. Give me a problem. Give me a question from a broker or anything. It doesn't have to be real estate related. It could be business related. Give me something.
How do I negotiate with my broker his percentage on?
There. That's a great. So now we're talking about more strategic kind of a conversation. So there, you put the microphone on. You can talk to it. All right. So. Look, well, I did it, but you click the button. See, it's recording right now my audio, so it's listening to what I'm saying. So this is how it is. This is how I use it. What was the question again?
How to negotiate the commission with his broker.
So what would be the best strategy for me? I'm a real estate broker. I'm representing the seller or the buyer, whichever one. And there's another broker, and the other broker is kind of giving me a hard time with he or she believes that their offer, their promise to purchase is what the price should be, but we're about 50,000-60,000 off from the asking price, and I'm having a hard time communicating with this broker.
It's negotiating the commission.
Well, whatever. Oh, it's too late. Let's see what it says. Now, is it always perfect? No, but it gives you a quite an interesting guide as to how to go about approaching. Okay. So it's answering right now. Let's have it talk. Maybe that's going to be easier. Negotiating the price with a broker. I think we spoke, the both of us, at the same time, so I'm not too sure it's going to answer it correctly, but let's try it.
Mateo,
What's wrong?
intelligence.
That's why you want to use. Okay, wait, guys, this is great. So you see what's written at the bottom of the screen right here? Where? Here. See how there's a typo? This is why you want to use ChatGPT for everything. No, it's not because we can't spell. It's just when we do things fast, chat will not make these types of mistakes. Well, sometimes, but rarely. So let's listen to what it says.
It sounds like you're working through a real negotiation scenario where you're dealing with a broker who is firm on their position, and you're also looking to negotiate commission. Here's a structured way to approach both issues. Negotiating the price with the broker. 1. Gather data and justify value. If your seller's asking price is significantly higher than the offer, you need to justify why it holds value. Provide comparable sales, recent, similar properties in the area. Highlight unique property features that justify the price.
Well, I mean, this one is it's kind of boring, I find, for this one. But look, I think it structures the idea for you. So when you're struggling with any type of thing, you can use it. This is what I've been using it for. And the beauty of all of this is that even though, okay, now it might not have been the question we asked it because we were both talking on top of it, but if I can go to it and say, no, what I meant was, and then it clarifies it, and just as fast as I'm talking to it. But what I use it for, and what I like to use it for, is for exactly this. If a problem or a scenario, I'm always thinking about efficiency. I'm always thinking about growing. I'm always thinking about, well, what else could I do with this situation? My employee is always late. How can I address it without, making him feel bad or whatever? Another example, I use it all the time. I'm not the best at celebrating people for small accomplishment. It's just not in my nature. No, but it's true. So what I will do, and I do this all the time, I will talk to chat and be like, hey, Mike did a great job today, and I want to slack it to everybody. I want to make him feel great. So write me something super positive and optimistic based on what you know about Mike, based about what he did. He did this, and that, and then it does it in a flash, and then I post it. Now, you have strengths and weaknesses. We all do, but you will never be able to beat this technology and this for what it. And as well as the more you talk to it, which I do quite a bit of, it gets to know the team. It gets to know me. It gets to know all the problems we have. And it will start suggesting and learning and getting better of understanding who we are and what we do and where the bottlenecks are.
So you're training the AI technically. So you're training the AI to be more like you. So of course, when you're going to first start out with it, it's going to be very generic. But over time, when you start explaining who you are, what you do, what your personality is like, the way you talk and all that stuff. So everything you're going to do is going to be structured more or less to the personality of the person of who you are. So I think that it's something that you can use as a tool if you use it well. Now, it's nowhere near perfect, but it's definitely something that can help.
It's way better than any human being I know.
For sure. So that being said, I think that you being able to integrate that to integrate HubSpot, like you said earlier, these two things right there are straight up additive that you can definitely get some upside on that.
And how many questions do you have all the time to yourself and to anybody else that you're thinking, I'm not getting the results that I want in my business? Just talk to chat and tell it what you're doing. Say, this is what I do and it doesn't seem to be getting me the results. What do you have any suggestions? You can even ask it to do deep searching, which will then go and it takes more time, but the platform is going to go even deeper in the learning, the searching, and it's going to do it in a sequential way where it's talking to itself. And that's a bit complicating to understand, but here's an example of how I use the deep search of OpenAI just today. I said, can you go pull what most real estate brokers in Quebec Google or search on the internet and on social media? What are they most interested in? And I did deep search. It took about 6-7 minutes, and it came back with a deep search. It says it of the social media platforms, the search platforms, the Googles of the world, to see, well, what are they writing? What are they searching? What's preoccupying? So then you can create the content based on the demand using this tool. I couldn't have done that without ChatGPT or OpenAI. I mean, it would have taken me 7 days of work, if not more, to get that same information. So it's very powerful. So you can use it as a personal assistant. You can use it as your directors when you want to do brainstorming about solving a problem in your business. You can use it for conflict resolution, as Mike's kind of described as a scenario. I'm having a hard time communicating my intent to either my client or another broker or whatever. And one thing that I've learned in sales over the many years I've been in sales is that you have to adapt to who you're with. So if I'm speaking to a lawyer versus an engineer versus a construction worker versus, you can even change the wording or the essence of your message to be reflected in the generic way where you're talking the language of the client or the recipient of your message in a better way and a clearer way. Do you understand?
Of course.
So what I always want to do too is at the end of something, if I'm trying to create a process or a system for an employee, a team member, and I want to make sure they get it, is that I will explain it in my words to chat, and then I will say, make this in a step-by-step sequence, offer suggestions on what to say when you're following up based on the criteria, and dumb it down so that if the person reading this is 10 years old, they will understand without questioning
Simplify it.
Dumb it down. Dumb it down. So personal assistant, conflict resolution, research. I gave you a good example of a research. If you're trying to say, hey, how many homes are in this area with whatever that are worth 500 plus, I bet you it's going to give you something ballpark pretty close to what you're looking for without spending thousands of minutes or hours trying to figure that out. Or worse, you trying to reach anybody. You can even ask real estate questions. Soon, Mike's going to be out of a job. It's true.
I'll always have money.
No, you know what I'm saying. An agency director, owner, all that it's going to disappear. You won't need us anymore to ask your question. You can just ask the chat or the AI because it's going to be connected. It already is, but through the web. But once it's connected to the civil code in the direct way,
at that point, it's going to be a point that won't even be brokers.
That's right.
We're going to get to that point. So, but I mean, for the time being, while you're still useful, using that is definitely going to be an asset to you moving forward, and it's going to facilitate your work, which means that you won't need to rely on people as much, and you'll be more independent, being able to act on your own. So it's a wonderful tool. It saves time. It's quick. And listen, like I said, you can train it to become exactly what you want it to be, and then move forward from there.
It's much simpler than you guys think. I'm telling you, you don't have to type nothing either. I never type nothing. I just talk to it. And if you were to go use this as a tool, let's say you did you went to see a home that you're trying to get and you wanted to do a presentation, you gather the information on your first visit. I always want to do it in a two-stepper. You gather, you don't want to say cut corners. There's no rush in this process. I go gather the data. Then I have all the data. I talk to OpenAI. This is the scenario, guy. Mike wants to sell his house. I sense tension with the wife. There must be some... No, but you will talk to it like you're going to describe the whole thing, everything you've observed. They are in no rush, they say, but I feel like the price is going to be a bit of a challenge. They mentioned this, but through my research and my CMA, I'm in within that range. They also said that they didn't want the use of a lockbox, or they wanted all visits to be accompanied by me or my assistant or someone from the team. And so now I'm going to say, how would you package all of this in bullet points so that when I go do my presentation, I cover all the points that are sensitive to Mike and his wife or whoever it is that I'm doing my presentation to. You have to use this because it thinks of things that we wouldn't think. I use it all the time. I'm telling you, this is going to be the greatest tool for you if you start integrating it, not just for copy of listing features and or social media content creation. You want to integrate it in your follow-ups, your notes in the CRM. Okay, I just met with this guy. He's thinking of selling, but not now. So what could be a strategy over the next 12 months? I need text messages, I need scripts for voicemail, and I need emails 12 once a month or whatever. Print me, generate me all of this right now, and it does. Based on who I am, and it's that powerful that it's going to write you don't have to think anymore. Who do you know uses it to that extent other than me? I mean, as brokers, no one. You gotta start learning it. You gotta start using it. If you need ideas on how to do it, Mike is always available. He uses it a ton, as I can help too. We can meet. We can talk about it. We can talk about your strategy and how to integrate it in your daily activities. A lot of you have questions. Sometimes calling us, emailing us, and I'm just turning around and chat GPT and thinking, shit, you could have had this answer by yourself. Which again, I'm not trying to diminish our role here. I'm saying that you could have quicker turnaround in your business if you use this kind of technology. Is it always right 100%, Mike?
No.
Give us examples of bad or because you mentioned.
Well, for example, if you're looking for facts, or you're looking for things that are based on law, for example, the OECIQ or things of that nature, you got to be extremely careful and fact check everything because it won't exactly know, the real estate law or that kind of stuff. You can have different scenarios where, a broker is doing something that may not be totally okay with, the REBA or whatever the case is. It won't necessarily, give you the right answer. So a lot of times you got to ask it, where did you get that answer, to make sure that you can fact check it and to make sure that it's correct. Now, it uses the internet in order for it to go get its answers. So it's whatever it is that's available on the internet readily, that's what it's going to go get. Now, mind you, there could be tons of sites, but it might use only 3, as a cross-reference, whereas the site that you would want it to use, it doesn't use that one.
So in regards to that, there's a new feature. Well, it's fairly new, where you click deep, as an example with OpenAI, ChatGPT. Most of you use ChatGPT, and it's deep search, and it will go deeper and look at multiple websites, not just the main ones. It just takes longer for the search to do. But when I say longer, it could, depending on how hard the question is or deep you want it to search, it could take 6 minutes. It could take, but you end up with more accurate information.
It depends how complex it is, and I think that when it comes to moral value,
yes,
it's very difficult to be able to judge something that's morally right or morally wrong, as opposed to, it'll give you opportunities to be able to make a better decision, but that final decision will come from you.
Let me give you another example of how you can use it, which no one does that I know of anyways. I could be wrong, and you tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. But you take statistics, you take le baromètre, as you all know, those that are real estate brokers, from l'Association des APCEQ. You take the baromètre, the PDF, you shove it into OpenAI, and you say, pull me some interesting statistics, or what are the trends that you observe or see, and then it's going to start giving you some interesting stuff. So if you were to do and use it for your CMA, your comparable market analysis, you're doing a presentation, either to a buyer or to a seller, it doesn't matter. You could plug in all the data that you've gathered and then say, just give me some interesting trends. Give me some things here of value that could help based on the situation that you described, fit the buyer or the seller. I hope I didn't lose you here, but I think this is super interesting and such a powerful tool that saves us so much time. You got to remember, when I started as a real estate broker, we had no internet. So when you go from doing everything manually, as I had to do, and you too, Mike, I think you started not long after me.
No, there was internet when I was.
Okay, so but anyways, the point is that when you had to do things in the manual way, and then you get to use these platforms, these tools, the time it saves you, even the visual stuff, you can say to chat or OpenAI, put this presentation in a better way and a nicer way, in a more professional way, because I'm meeting with, I don't know, someone that's very analytic. So put more emphasis on analytics and statistics and ratios, versus I'm meeting someone else that it's got to be more simple. Just give me big headlines, big lines, simple, straight to the point, what it's worth. It's an extremely powerful tool. You have to integrate it. What I want to see one day, hopefully soon, is all of my real estate brokers in the office walking and talking to ChatGPT nonstop. I still don't know why we don't use it as much. I guess it's just a reflex or using it. Matteo, why would you not use it for everything? I'm not picking on him, but let's say, how many times have I said, let's use chat for the writing of the shit? Yeah. And you didn't pick it today. Why? Because it's an extra step. Or it's a habit.
It's a habit, I guess. Yeah, it's hard to make that habit. To open the app and ask the question and engage with ChatGPT. I'm not used to it yet.
Yeah. So it's a reflex. It's a habit. It's something to develop. But I'm telling you now, this is my second best top tool that I use all the time for everything, even on my personal my personal stuff. I mean, my personal interactions with people. I'll use it.
But one thing I'll tell you also is, because I don't want to give you false pretenses either. It's not when we say that, it's that you also have to pay attention to what it is that you're writing. For example, if you're writing a personal message to somebody, you don't want it to look generic either, because it has a tendency to repeat and put all your messages kind of look the same. And people nowadays, especially when they get CRM and they use all this stuff and they get a lot of mail, sometimes they start to feel that this is not as personal. So you want to make sure that all your stuff, you refresh it, you look at it, you make sure and understand the sentiment that you would get if you would receive that, versus the other way.
So as you said, Mike, the sentiment is important. So when you read it after, what you get as a sentiment, you gotta tweak, make the modification. And it, like I said, takes 2 seconds. No, make it a bit friendlier is what you could say, or make it a bit more professional, make it more personal, make it more like whatever.
Yeah.
Put it. You want to be. Sometimes you're not in the mood. You're not necessarily creative. You're not thinking, but you want to put something. You want to respond to a DM of someone or a text, and you want to put a twist that's funny, but your mind is not there. You just found out you're losing the deal, but this client. So I use it all the time, and I say, look, I have to answer this person. This is the essence of the message. Make it funny, and the things that it will come up with. I mean, I can't compete with that, and it is generally funny and it's great. The other day, another example. I know it's a lot, Mike. This is stuff that not everybody. But here's what I did. I'm sitting here. It's late one night. I'm eating a Factor meal, and I take a picture of it because I want to use it I want to put it up on one of my stories. And I put the picture in chat and said, "Can you write me something super funny, but very short and sweet because it needs to go on a story post." I uploaded the picture. I said that. It took 3 seconds. It wrote a super funny. Well, I thought it was clever the way it wrote. And I put it up, and there you go. I had great content. It took me 3 seconds. I just took a shitty picture of what I was doing, but it turned out to be much easier than if I would have had to think about what to write and all that. So again, you got to get into the habit of using it. And we're going to take a few questions, Mike, if we have about AI and how to use it. This for any business owner, if you own a business, if you have employees, this is gonna blow your mind. The amount of time.
Candace from St. Leonard is asking, how much does it cost to use ChatGPT on the paid version?
How much does it cost you not to use it is what I would ask myself. But I think, Mike, you said about $40.
Yeah,
it's not that expensive. XAI I think is at $30 or $35. That's Elon Musk's AI company. Apparently.
And there's going to be a lot more.
Apparently, yeah, it's the best platform right now, or the most powerful for all kinds of things. But
there's going to be a lot more that's going to be happening, and a lot more that are going to be coming into the market. Kind of like at the same time that you saw during the internet bubble, where there was Netscape, there was this, there was that. There's going to be a lot of companies
that ages you.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So people used to use MSN Messenger or whatever the case is. Like, all these things disappeared, and then some other things came in and took their place. So whatever it is that we're using today that seems to be nice and for the past year or so, whatever, there's going to be other stuff. There's going to be better stuff, and eventually it's going to get there. But what I'm saying is that it is the time for you to get started on it, so that you could get an advance on everyone else.
And if you're honest with yourself, and if you're honest with the platform can actually help you become better, and the platform can help you understand where you need to put more work into. I do this all the time. I ask it, okay, so based on what you know about me, because I use it so much that it starts to see the patterns and where I'm maybe weaker, and it's going to suggest, and it's starting to feel like it really knows me when I ask it, can you define who I am and what my objectives are, or can you help me understand better where I should put more energy into to become just a better rounded individual, either as a business owner, as a leader, as a husband, as a father, whatever. And it picks up on things that's quite interesting. So I don't need friends anymore. I don't. Chat is my new friend. I will soon be divorcing my wife and marrying an avatar AI. The thing is that it's happening too soon. It's going to happen. So third, but not least, favorite app, platform, software, Mike. I know you're getting tired. This is usually your nap. Mid-afternoon. You want to talk about?
Sure.
Uh-oh, we've lost Mike. Are you here? Are you good?
I'm waiting for you. Finish what you're saying there.
Just Call. It's a dialer. It's a predictive dialer and sales message. It's two different applications. I put them into one because they're communication tools, but with the efficiency that you cannot have if you're doing things manually. So we know we have to communicate to a lot of different people through phones and through texting. And these two applications have saved us a lot of frustration, a lot of money and time, because they just make things way more efficient and easier to do. So Just Call is a predictive dialer. You can use it as an auto dialer or what's it called? A one-to-one line dialer, but with intelligence. So what we use it for is for prospecting. We use it for nurturing. You upload your database into that, or you connect it to your CRM if you use a CRM like HubSpot. And then what does it do, Mike? Maybe you want to explain what it does.
Well, the one thing that it does is that it's able to dial many dials at the same time. So you save a lot of time. If you have to do 50 calls, let's say, within an hour, then, it'd probably be more difficult for you to do, depending the amount of seconds that you spend leaving a message or being able to move to the next call. So this will dial many numbers at the same time, and the first one to pick up will connect you. So you're able to be a lot more productive, in terms of contacts and getting in touch with people.
So there's a lot of auto dialers, automatic dialers, which is kind of replacing your finger on the dialer, which saves you a bit of time, but we are talking about predictive dialers. So they will dial multiple lines at the same time. They will leave pre-recorded voice messages for you. You can also automate that once the dial has been done, no one answers, a text message goes out automatically. That's a workflow integration, and an email based on the disposition. The disposition would be no answer or whatever it is. So you can program different outcomes based on the result of your dial, which saves you hundreds of thousands of hours every year. And so if you're nurturing a database, if you just want to touch base with previous clients or a pool of buyers or sellers or whatever it is, you want to do it in an efficient way where you're reaching out to everybody in a short amount of time. So predictive dialers will save you tons of money, tons of times. And the beauty of it is that the message that you're leaving, the voicemail, is pre-recorded. So the energy level is always the same. It's not, see, Mike's starting to be more tired now, so his energy level is you can tell that the when we started to the now is a different. So if you're just falling on us now, you might think, well, shit, the guy doesn't have the same energy he had before.
Not at all. I'm just listening to him.
So that's the power of that tool. Combine that with the potential of sending these emails, these text messages all in one, so you don't have to do everything manually. An example is 1 hour of predictive dialing with 10 lines could generate 100 calls in an hour, which is fantastic. The other app I mentioned was Sales Message. So that app you can integrate also with HubSpot, where it's for texting, it's for calling, it's for voicemail dropping, but you can have pre-written templates, snippets within the platform. It's connected to HubSpot. So if the client writes, just the whole team sees it. It's recorded under the contract. So if Mike's following up or I'm following up, everything's there. It's centralized. You can share. So if someone writes to you and you have more than one person in your team, well, the other person can see that someone has written because you're in a meeting. So you want to use these tools so that you give better service, you keep better records, and you're just more efficient with your time, with your use of time. And
question.
Yes.
What does the future hold for Mellor Group?
The question is, I don't know if everybody heard, what is the future hold for Mellor Group? Well, I sincerely think that AI and what we're talking about, all of these tools are going to change quite substantially the real estate business within the next 5 to 7 years. I'm in contact with other different companies that are quite I can't really talk about it, but tech companies, and I see what they're working on, what they're doing, and I truly believe that we need to adapt. We need to stay at the top of what's going on, and that's why I'm sharing this with you today. You need to be understanding all of this stuff to see, well, how am I going to change or adapt when the big tech firms come in with their platforms and their technology and their use of AI. So the future for us is going to ever be evolving based on the technology. But what's important is to keep on top. So one thing I do, and I encourage you guys to do, is even though you're not fanatics or fans of AI or the programming side of what it is to keep, and my favorite way of doing this is to go on Google, on YouTube, and to kind of do a few searches so that in my feed, I constantly get some updates on what's going on with Google Gemini, what's going on with XAI and Elon's company, what's going on with OpenAI, what's going on with all of these different major AI companies, and listen to conferences that they're giving or talking to, listen to programmer. I know it's kind of boring, but you don't have to understand everything. Just absorb it, have it in the back, so that you're staying relative to this world, and so that you can easier adapt to the upcoming major changes that are going to take place.
You have to be aware of the changes, because the changes can affect your business quite drastically. Earlier, I think it was this week, there's a new company in Quebec actually that had all our listings uploaded there, and then all the brokers
don't talk about that.
were going into a frenzy because of it. But it's an example of things that are constantly changing that you're not necessarily aware of, and when it happens, it becomes a surprise. So I think that you don't need to deep dive and understand everything about it, but just keeping yourself knowledgeable of what's going on, your surroundings, how can you get better at what you do, looking at your craft, seeing how you can add a few elements in there, just so that you can become more efficient, and then go from there.
And it's part of having your own business as a self-employed. When we talk about being a real estate broker, you're self-employed. So the responsibility of having a business, that it be a one-man business, that responsibility also means integrating education and following what's going on and keeping up with the world on the technology side, on the business side, on the market side, on what's the sentiment of clients about whatever your product or your service is. So it does require a lot of work.
And the political side, also the political side, because it comes into play as well, so everything affects your business from A to Z. So you gotta stay on top of mind of everything.
Or get close to someone that does that, like myself. Get close, ask questions, follow, see what we're doing, what we're talking about. We're sharing this today with you to kind of do that exercise. But if you have the choice of finding out even more deeper as to, well, how do we create our workflows? And I gave you some examples, but if you want to come and actually see it for your own eyes, I'll show you all of what we've done and what we keep on doing and what are we working on for the future. I don't know if I'm going to share that with everybody, but some of you I know, and I wouldn't mind doing it if you're curious and you want to know what we're working on. So that's a great question, Matteo, whoever asked it. We're going to take maybe a couple of more questions. We want to do more of these long format lives to give you the opportunity to interact with us with active engagement, commitment, or you could be somewhere else too. We don't care. There's enough business for everyone. We can share, and nothing's a secret per se. It's all out there.
You have Jessica from Brossard that's asking, do you guys really believe that the real estate broker will disappear?
Well, I don't think it's going to happen overnight, and I don't think that the human side of things will ever completely disappear. But I can tell you that if you're not offering any or understanding any of what we're talking about, and especially on the artificial intelligence side, and you can't add any type of value to it because you just don't understand how it actually works, then it's going to be hard for you to stay competitive.
I'll tell you what I think. I think that the advancement is lightning speed, and it's getting to the point where they might even be smarter than us, like in the sense that
it is now, Mike.
But in the sense that I'm trying to say is that your questions could actually, as a customer, your questions could actually better be answered by the AI than the actual broker. I think, and right now in the States, they already started with these visits where have no brokers in the visit whatsoever. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, in my opinion, but what I'm saying is that it's definitely going to be a major game changer, moving forward. How quickly it's going to happen, we don't know. How quickly it's going to be regulated also with the OACIQ is something else.
I want to give you another example of the power of these tools based on, I was kidding with Mike earlier about being tired and all that, but we do get, we are humans. So we have preoccupations. We have scenarios in our lives that sometimes prevents us from being at our full capacity of engaging fully with the person or the question. So if I go and give you examples, I have young kids. Some nights I don't sleep as much as others. Sometimes I have big preoccupations, big problems to solve, big things that bother me or take my attention, and so I'm not fully capable sometimes of answering or addressing a concern or a problem in a fully devoted, energized way. So the power of these tools is that it gives me that possibility to be 24/7 at the same level of focus or attention or energy or smarts that no human can do. So if I get a long day, I get up at 4 most days. At the end of the day, if it's 8 o'clock, I'm tired. I've been up for a long time. If I have to answer something in an energetic, creative way, sometimes I just don't have the fuel, the juice, you know what I'm saying? So if I go and talk to chat and say, look, I'm trying to give this impression with this essence of message, with this tone, can you help me out? And it does it in 5 seconds, which it does. Then that to me is a game changer. Yeah. It blows my mind. Like even 2 years ago, I wasn't using it. I was a bit maybe like some of you and thinking I don't need it, it's not that great. But start using it every day, you're going to see the power and how it can help you become way more prolific and efficient with everything. Then in the tone, we have another question?
Yeah. What training or resources does the brokerage provide on using AI for social media marketing?
So this is a program that we're working on actually right now. We've been talking about that at our Monday meeting. We're actually going to be getting brokers to learn more about this stuff, but I can't talk about it because it's too soon. But it is something that we're integrating within our agency.
Oh wait, maybe I misunderstood the question.
They're talking about what does the brokerage do to help brokers with AI training
on social media
marketing.
Well, what we're doing right now.
Yeah, what are?
But we do it in a more direct. For our brokers, we'll set some sessions. I don't know. Maybe you're talking about something else. We sit and we make sure that we understand what the broker is trying to achieve. That's a pretty vague question you asked there, but the strategy has to be defined based on what we're trying to accomplish. And sometimes just having that conversation is not it's not that easy, in the sense that you might say, well, I just want more business. Yeah, but you want more business in regards to you want more opportunities, you want more people to see you, you want more people to engage with your content. Well, what is it that you're trying to? And so sometimes it's not going to necessarily be what the broker thinks he needs. It's going to be maybe other things that are going to have to take place beforehand. So not too sure.
I don't think it's a one size fits all type of thing situation either, because every broker is different. Some brokers want to work 80 hours, some want to work 40, 20.
Oh yeah. Well, we share, like today we share 3 of the tools, but we got we got 15, 20 tools that we use. Other tools that we use for social media. We're in a studio. We built a studio, so we can share all of this stuff with and our brokers when they have needs or questions about how can I make my visibility more. And I like what you just said, Mike. I'm not finishing my sentence here. This is why you want to use ChatGPT. You said we adapt to the individual. Not everybody also is at the same level of being able to, let's say, create. Like if you came to me and said, well, what's your objective in regards to social media content? How much content do you want to put out? Well, I want to do a minimum of 25 posts per minute. I'm exaggerating, but almost not. And so obviously not everybody's going to have the capability to output that kind of volume.
And not everybody has the want to put that too.
That's
also,
right.
Because you might be capable, maybe you don't want, maybe you just want to work 20 hours a week. Maybe you don't care. You just want to have 1 or 2 sales a year.
Did you listen to the video I sent you about Jamie from
Diamond?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't repeat it. But
No.
did you like that, Mike?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Maybe we should share a bit of what it is.
Well,
No, don't bother. Anyways, you can Google it. What's his name? Jamie Dimon.
Jamie Dimon.
What would it be? What's the video? What's it called?
Uh,
He didn't know he was being recorded. and he
it was
talking
a
to-
leak that came out on Patrick Ben David's show.
So not on the show. He promoted it and
Well,
shared it.
he shared the leak, but yeah, it's quite interesting.
So a lot of things that you guys are doing right now that are very traditional are great, but you want to integrate what we talked about today. So to recap, 3 main things that you want to integrate in your daily activity as a self-employed, as a real estate broker, or as a business. You want to integrate a powerful CRM with AI integrated, automation integrated, and has the capacity and the capability of scaling and growing and adding to. You want to have AI chat, I don't know what you call it, tool software that you want to use as a personal assistant, as a content creator, as a strategic partner, as a director, brainstorming friend tool for your day-to-day activity, for pretty much everything. Even though you know the answer to it, just run it through it and say, hey, how can I embellish? How can I add more value to what I'm saying? So that for sure, artificial intelligence, and you want to use tools for communicating that are going to give you the edge of saving time and being more efficient. And maybe even if you're not by yourself working solopreneur, you want your team to see it all mashed together. So these would be my first 3 choice of platforms and tools to absolutely integrate today in your
starter
business.
kit.
Your starter kit. That's a good point, Mike. Now, if you want more ideas, if you want more to do with what we talked about today and other things that pertain to helping you grow your business, generating more leads, being more modern in your approach with all of the stuff you have to do day to day, you have to follow us. Follow one of my accounts. We're on TikTok, YouTube, Meta, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're everywhere. And if you need more and want more, reach out to me. Reach out to us. Come and see us. Or just let's start by a conversation by a direct message or whatever platform you prefer. And we can explore more in depth what you're doing in your business and see how we can help you just develop and be more efficient with what you do. Before we go, Mike, and I thank you for just sitting here for this long amount of time without being too bored. Because you hear me talk about this all the time. I guess you're fed up, but I enjoy talking about this. We have le Salon de l'Habitation starting the 13th all the way to the 16th of March next week. We have a broker, Michael Gobanian, who's giving away tickets. He's got some tickets. He's got a kiosk there. He's going to be going, and he's got all kinds of professionals that are going to be with him. And he's going to be giving out a lot of prizes. I think it's worthwhile. It's a great way of networking and meeting new people. So I have some tickets here. There's already a few that have been promised and committed. But if you're interested in getting this ticket for free, gracieuseté of Michael Gobanian,
Let us know.
then please DM us and we'll arrange for you to come and pick up or receive these tickets. With that, Mike, I want to wish everybody a great weekend. And we'll do more of these. And tell us what you want to discuss or learn about, and we'll share what we can about what we do. And that's it.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.